Everyone, welcome everyone to our workshop today. So I think we should start now because I really appreciate our participants who joining in our workshop today, really on time and prepare well for our, maybe it's in the morning at your place or in the evening at your place, but I truly appreciate that you are joining on our workshop today. So I want to start our workshop and stop sharing our screen so we can see in each other's. Okay. So I think we will welcome more friends during our sharing sections, but I would like to kickstart and welcome everyone to our workshop. This is the fourth workshop in our workshop series called From Local to Global, Dialogues on Restorative Practice in Education. So this is the workshop series that we want to open as a space for every teachers, educators, and practitioners to join with us and discuss about how we can using restorative practice and apply it in our real life in the schools and in even informal or non-formal education setting. So today our workshop with the name Restorative Practice in Education, Building Relational School Communities. I am now really honored and grateful to invite James Lim and co-host our speakers, Sebastian Tell from Lutheran Church Communities, and to come here and join with us and sharing their insight as a trainer, also as a educators from Singapore. So to begin our workshop today, I know we are a diverse group with the friends from Vietnam, from some friends from United States, and we also have friends from Singapore. Yeah. So I would like to invite everyone, if in your convenience, because we are a smaller group today, at your convenience, it would be, I think it would be more feeling that we in presence if we can open the camera and connect with each others. And in our Zoom functions, there also a caption that you can open if you need the captions to catch up with our presentations and our conversations today. Okay. And we are here. My name is Lin from the Classroom Circle, and we have Tao, also from the Classroom Circle, the organizer who hosts the workshop today. If you need any support from the technical things or have any questions during our sessions, please place it on chat box, or you can message us direct on chat box on the Zoom chat box. Okay, so don't let you on waiting for too long. I would like to pass the talking piece to our guest speaker today. I think I will pass this on our first guest speaker is James. Is that okay? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Ling, for inviting us to share on this channel in this group in the Classroom Circle. Good evening, everyone who is from a Southeast Asian country. It's like 8 p.m. on your end. And also good morning to those from the States. I think you are probably just about to start your work right in the morning as well. Yeah, it's really so exciting, for us to be able to share this. First of all, it's not a mistake that I put only Singapore after my name because Singapore is a city-state. So there's only one city in Singapore. That's how small it is. If you drive on our expressway from end to end, 10 hours, 1 hour is all you need to finish driving across the island. Yeah. Okay. So that's just a very quick introduction of where we come from. And it's certainly our privilege and honor to really speak at this platform, talking about our practices in how we have really encouraged schools in Singapore to adopt restorative practices. So let me just start off with a very quick introduction of our organization before I pass to Sebastian for a quick check-in. Right, so this is Restorative Practice in Education, Building Relational School Communities Workshop. Hope you are in the right one. So Okay, so first of all, of course, we, as our name suggests, we are a strategic partner of the Lutheran Church in Singapore. That means we are the social outreach arm of the Lutheran Church to serve community in need. However, we are secular in our practice. That means to say we don't preach religion in our circle practice, for example, but we do RP to break the hurt cycle and help everyone to build resilience in the school communities. So our belief that drives our practice, something that we take some time to reflect among ourselves in terms of a restorative practitioner. We do believe that everybody, no matter whether you are the quietest or the most extroverted student in school, everyone's innately wired to connect and build community with one another. And everybody needs relationships to heal, to change, and to grow. And everybody has worth and deserves equitable outcomes. So our journey ourselves as an organization, 2 years ago, we just celebrated our 40th anniversary. So actually we were founded in 2002. And we started off doing a lot of group work in schools. So at that point in time, we really were just trying anything that works. We were just grabbing at ends, trying to do our own style and practice on how we can help students to connect to the communities. But thankfully, that's when in 2013, we got connected to IRP. So IRP is the International Institute for Restorative Practices, and they are situated in the States. So we learned a lot of our restorative practices from them as well. And thereafter, we decided that, we want to make ourselves a restorative organization. We'll make all of our approach, the way we approach students or the way we approach families in need, to be coming from a restorative basis. So that's why we start looking at practice of our schoolwork, and we started this thing called the Builders Project in 2015, which was our first attempt to do a whole school approach in restorative practices. So this program is very interesting in the sense that we are comprehensive in our implementation of restorative practice. We have one staff who is based in the school system, who will interact with students, parents, and also teachers, so that the whole school system as a whole, they are able to speak the same restorative language in how we work and help and support the student. And another relevant piece of information for everyone is that in 2021, we became a approved training organization. So that means to say we can offer what the Singapore government calls WSQ courses. Basically, these courses are qualifications that help people in their workforce kind of skill set. So they're able to come and learn about restorative practice through us, and these credits can then be reflected in their portfolio and maybe perhaps even help them in their employment as well. Yeah. So yes, we would like to start with a check-in as in the spirit of doing circle. So I'll pass the time to Sebastian to facilitate that.
Thank you, James. Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today in this webinar. Anyway, let's begin with a quick check-in to get to know each other. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to share your name, your job responsibility, and one word that will describe what you thought when you saw the title of this workshop. So with this, how we're going to work is that we're going to take turns to share. When it's your turn, please unmute yourself to share your answer. After you've done, call out the name of the next person so that they can take their turn. For example, after I share, I will call James. Please go next. Okay? So with this, I'm going to share. So I'm Sebastian. I'm currently overseeing the implementation of restorative practices in school and school-based program at Lutheran Community Care Services. The focus of my job is on working with schools to build a relational culture that addresses harm and nurtures stronger communities. And the last question. So when I see the workshop, I saw the workshop title, the word opportunity came to mind. I thought that opportunity because the potential to build stronger relationship and create environments where both students and educator feel valued and connected. So with this, James, pass to you. You're next.
Okay, thank you. I will just prepare the next person I'm going to call upon in advance. And I don't know whether it's fate or not, but the person right on my screen right now that I see is Deborah. So you can prepare to go next, yeah? Deborah from the United States, just to be clear, because I think there's a Deborah from Singapore. So I realized I haven't introduced my job responsibility. So I'm the director of programs in LCCS. So that means I oversee all programs and services, not just in schools, but also those that we work with in the community setting, and also those in the prison setting as well. Yeah. So one word representing what I was thinking. So my word is plant. There are two reasons why I chose that word. The first reason I will not share yet, but it's something that you will realize later when I go through my content. The other reason is I see restorative practices in education as planting seeds in young people. You know, sometimes they may not grow and germinate then, but it will grow and germinate over time. Yeah. So I'll pass the virtual talking piece to Deborah.
Okay, hello, good morning, good evening. I'm Deborah. I live in Bloomington, Indiana, in the United States. I work for Indiana University and for a center that supports teachers and educators in being more effective, being more proactive and preventative instead of reactive. And I train in restorative practices and positive behavior interventions and supports, kind of a school-wide framework for just how to operate. And the word representing what I was thinking is connection. It's, we talk a lot about the importance of connecting, and it's really important to connect ourselves and to do that also. So I saw this as an opportunity to learn and grow and connect with like-minded people who have a heart to connect other people. I'm going to call on the other Deborah in Singapore.
Thank you. So I'm Deborah and I'm from Singapore, and I'm actually colleagues together with James and Sebastian. So my job responsibilities, I do a little bit of work with children and youth, but these days more restorative processes with community members in the community who may be experiencing violence. And one word representing what I was thinking. Actually, I think the word would be happy. I am here to support my colleagues who I'm really happy to hear them share about their journey and the work that they are doing. Alrighty, I am going to pass to Lynn.
Thank you, Deborah, for pass me the talking piece, and thank you, James, that we can now see each other's. We are in the check-in round for our new participants, and yeah, I will start sharing about my name is Ling. My last name is Ngo, so normally I use name Ling Ngo. My job can call my responsibility now is I'm a founder and also the practitioners in the classroom circle. And our work in Vietnam is mostly work with teachers and the student in K-12 school and also in the formal education setting to promote the restorative practice in building the community in the classroom and to reduce the discipline policy that we are now still using it in our classroom in Vietnam. So this is the workshop is also one of the part of our work that we want to like try to connect the educators and practitioners and teachers in the regions and in all over the world, like to have more friends and to like engage everyone in this movement in our school settings. So one words that when I read about the title of the workshop today, because I have a chance to talk with Sebastian and James to prepare the workshop. So one thing that is pop up in my mind when we talking about this topic is just because when we talking about the relationship in the classroom, the first thing to bring everyone together and start talking about something, even the easiest topic, is that we just our friends, we just our student, we just our teachers. That where the sharing point will started in our classroom. So yeah, that is my first thought. And thank you for listening. And I would like to pass out my talking piece to the friends called Hoàng Diệu Anh.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so actually my camera I cannot turn it on because my internet connection is not that good. So okay. So actually I am just now a student from the University of Languages and International Studies, also called ILS in Hanoi. And my major is English Language Teacher Education, which means that I will learn to become a teacher in the future. And actually, when I first see the title of this workshop on Facebook group, the words that immediately come up to my mind is cooperative. Because I think that in this workshop, we will learn how to, how to create some very innovative learning methods for the students. And me as a future teacher in the future, and I think that it's very meaningful and it has it will be helpful for my future careers when listening to the sharing of you guys sitting in this workshop. And that's all I want to share. And that's my very brief introduction. And now I will pass my turn can I invite Thiên An from Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam?
Hello, everyone. Can you hear my voice? Right. Okay. Right now, my name's Thiên An. You can call me Ben. Right now, I'm working as a consultant for a training company, a corporate training company. But my dream is that I want to work with the youngsters from 18 to 25. And about this topic, I think of the image of a forest, biodynamics, stuff like that, because, and also like when we talk about communities, I think about difference, but living in harmony, just like the forest. They have different system, different individuals, but they still know somehow to cooperate to create an ecosystem. So that's what I think about the topic, forest. Yeah. So next I will invite Miss Thảo Phạm.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear my speaking?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I just came back from my school. We have a festival today to celebrate Vietnamese New Year. Yeah, so it's a bit late in Hanoi. I'm working as a school counselor at a multi-level school, private school in Hanoi. And I also work with Lingo and Tu Thảo in the project class, the classroom circle before. But right now I'm as I'm a bit busy at my school, but still I try to follow the event, the workshop, to work with the project and with Link. So one word that that stick to my mind, and the reason why I want to be here today is the parents. As I work with Link in the project, I have chance to work with many Vietnamese teachers, and I also bring my experience to my school. So slowly, I can influence my teachers, the teachers who work with me. But then I realized that one of the obstacle when I try to build the school communities is the working with parents. Yeah, so I already sent the question like how can do you guys have any suggestions for me to work with the parents, especially when they kind of have a different view in educating their child with the school, and because for many reasons we cannot we still need to have the kids and still need to work with the parents, but we have opposite opinions in how to educate the kids. So how can we come up with a solution to build the connection between school, teachers, parents, and students? Thank you. So now I want to pass to Thảo. How do you introduce yourself?
Okay, thank you, chị Thảo, for passing the mic. So I am Thu Thảo, and I also working with Ling and Miss Thảo Phạm for a year for the project, the Classroom Circle. And now I am also working as a librarian at the private school. And from my point of view and my observations, I saw that in school there's a lot of conflicts, not just between the student itself, it's between all the relationship that creating in the school, like between the parents with the student, parents with the teacher, and the teacher versus the teacher itself. And I realized that when I saw the name of the workshop, I expect to have a view on restorative mindsets. What would it be when it in the school? What is could be the restorative mindset in school when you come from when you in the perspective of the student or the parents or even the board of director? Yeah, that's what I think when I saw the name of the workshop. And I hope that we will have some kind of insightful with to our speaker today. And I will pass the spotlight to Miss Calvin Hart from United States. Please.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, we can hear
wonderful,
you.
wonderful. So, I'm from the United States. Of course, it's morning, so I'm starting my day 7 o'clock here. Um, I work for Memphis Shelby County Schools in the United States. I serve as a hearing official. I've had 10 years as an educator, almost 10 years as an administrator, and about 5 or 7 years in my current position as a hearing official. A hearing official are the individuals who, when students commit what we call Category A offenses or Category B offenses, where it may be bringing drugs or bringing weapons or something that's high level, and they tend to be desired to be suspended. The principal choose to suspend them, then they have a hearing. And I'm one of 11 people who sit, well, I'm sorry, one of 7 people who sit and hear their process and hear what happened and make a decision whether to send them back to regular school or send them to an alternative school. What when I saw this, I think I saw it on Facebook as well. I thought about this as an opportunity because a lot of times in doing hearings, I find there are a lot of social, emotional aspects of the reason why our children do particular acts. And so I want to address those. So to kind of fill my emotional cup, I teach restorative practices to teachers and as well as groups of students. And so when I saw this, I said, wow, this is an opportunity to learn how other people are teaching restorative practices in their setting. The word that I would use when I saw the presentation is support. I think we all are here to support each other, and as I hear the speakers, you are here to support the students and teachers, and so we all. I think someone said we intertwine. Yes, we're intertwined because we all have the same common goal. I would pass it to, is that Ka? Kha?
Yes, thank you for inviting me for sharing. Actually, I have just finished my quick meal for the dinner because I'm from Vietnam. And yeah, my name is Carl and I'm from Vietnam. And currently, I'm just a senior student major in psychology. However, one title that describe my job or my responsibility, I think currently it is tutoring or private tutoring. But I think that the mission or the common things that I travel to the world is because I want to make some changes in the education field, because I believe that every human is very potential and they just need some suitable environment so that it can facilitate their learning or their growth. So I'm coming to this world to do something like that. So that's why I not yet settle down my job titles and just navigate my journey. Yeah, and about the title of this workshop, I think one keyword I was to describe is the magical, because I knew that the relational or the relationship is a very take enormous effort for us to build, because it's not just the one night for us to build. The connection is very hard because it's relating to the trust. So it involves many kind of stakeholder for us to do and together to build that. So I think that is a very meaningful but very exhausted task everyone could do. Yeah, I think so. So thank you for tonight from Vietnam. Yeah. And I think I will pass the mic to I guess the participant called iPhone. Yeah. Can the host invite
Yeah, I think, thank you, Ka.
Yes.
Yeah, we almost been through our friends check-in round. If the friends called iPhone is still here, and you can open the mic to check in with everyone. Or I think if you have challenge on open the mic, you can check in on the chat box. I think it's still possible, and we still can connect with each other during the workshop. And yeah. Oh,
I'm so sorry for this inconvenience. I have struggled a little bit with the technology. My name is Vâng, and currently I'm working for an international bilingual school in Ho Chi Minh City. We have two schools, one school in Hanoi and the other school in Ho Chi Minh City. And I'm working in the administration. Nice to meet you all. So one word that come up to my mind when reading the topic of today's workshop is inclusive school. That is the setting that I always want to work with. Thank you.
I think
Thank
we
you.
went through. Oh,
Sure. Thanks, Ling. So, yeah, thanks for everybody for sharing your thoughts and responses. Boy, it's great to hear from all of you. With this, I would like to go to the next portion of our segment where we're going to talk about, we're going to share this story of Manfred. So, these students we work with is 10-year-old boys who we got to know through one of the programs. He was caught shoplifting and was referred to us for support. Rather than focusing on punishment, we facilitated a restorative conference for him, which this allowed everyone who's affected, whether it's parents, the shop owners, or other stakeholders to come together to address the harm and explore ways to make things right. So with this, I would like to be able to watch his stories and videos to understand how he processed through and begin to understand the impact of his behavior and how he affected others. So with this, let's watch this video.
So how do you think that would affect, say, your family members, people that you are close to?
Relationship matters also, because if they heard like the news about my action, then they'll be quite disappointed as well.
Sometimes the most toughest part of going through all this is really because how we've disappointed our parents, and that's the thing that is harder to bear emotionally. Which one of these four positions do you think you were in that period in time?
I think I'll be withdrawal, because when after this thing happened, then I'm already gonna know that my parents gonna scold me, grounded me for this stuff. So I avoid it. I don't want to talk to my friends, my parents, or either my teachers as well.
After that, how do you feel about that process that you went through when you had to, share some of the questions and everything?
Well, it was quite relief because I get to share my thoughts, and when it comes to share my thoughts, I might think before that they were like very disappointed, but at the same time, when I speak out about my thoughts, they just get to know me better, like understanding me more because I'm going through this thing. And also, and without the circle, I might not tell anyone about it, then it might just continue, like goes on.
When Mr. Tan gave you that request, right, to water the plant, what were your thoughts then at that point in time?
It was hard for me because that's my first time growing a plant, and I don't know how it works. So, yeah.
But why did it matter to you to grow that plant fully?
Because the plant is my goal, just to show the shopkeeper like how I grow very well. It's like treating myself also, because the plant is like myself, building up your character also, and also turning into a new leaf also. And that's the point about the plant. It's like myself.
Thank you, James. As a practitioner and restorative practitioner, I really value hearing from others and giving everyone a space to share a voice. So actually, I prepared a few questions to reflect upon. However, due to time constraint, I appreciate if you could just respond in Zoom chat as we reflect this question about Manfred stories. So yeah, first question, I would like to ask us to think about what was it important? Why was it important to gather all the stakeholders in Manfred's story or Manfred case? Sorry, is it same? I think there's some. Okay, never mind. I think we just start off with this question instead because I think there's some juggle up. Why was it? Why was there a need to gather all the stakeholders? Yeah. Why was there a need to gather all stakeholders? Maybe you give us a minute, to respond in the Zoom chat to reflect upon Manfred's story. Sure, I saw somebody raise hand. Would you?
Yeah, can I share?
Oh, sure. You want to share verbally? Sure, go ahead.
Okay. I think that the reason why we need to gather all the stakeholder because we already watched a TED Act or the TED Talk about the danger of the single story. It means that kind of the single perspective, or the one perspective can draw a very biased or the subjective conclusion about something. So trying to get the multi perspective or the many things or to make the decision or to understand, and the ultimate goal here is to empathize with the situation. We are not just to judge someone who is good or who is bad. Yeah, we just not need the information to know the rationale behind the action. So that's it. I think that the role of the gathering all the stakeholders here. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. I really like what you said. Creating empathy. Yeah, that's very nice. That's very nice. So we hear from people also saying that different perspective from different stakeholders. Okay, sure. We can go to the next question. Thank you, Kai, by the way. Well, so next question. What truly mattered for the stakeholders? What truly mattered for the stakeholders? Anybody? Or even you can just type in the Zoom chat. How about James? What do you think? What truly matters for stakeholders?
I think now everyone know why my word that I chose just now was a plant because the facilitator in the video was me. And I think what was amazing in this story is that the shopkeeper actually wasn't looking at any financial compensation because he was saying that he's a rich businessman, he doesn't need the student to contribute any form of compensation. But what mattered for him was that Manfred actually learned a lesson from this whole episode, and that's why he suggested the part about growing a plant. How he can reflect on his actions as he grew a plant daily, and one day present that plant to the shopkeeper. And I was there when Manfred did it, presented that plant to the shopkeeper. They hug each other, and I remember the words of shopkeeper was that, it's okay, everyone makes mistake in life, I just hope you learn through it. So to me, what truly mattered for Manfred was the opportunity to make things right, to not feel condemned for what he did, and that's something that he had the opportunity to acknowledge in front of his teachers, his peers, and also the shopkeeper. Yeah.
Wow, James, thank you. Yeah, the word opportunity to make things right. The word opportunity was also the word I used, at the start. Yeah. Okay, Ken, thanks. Let's go for the next question. What would have happened to their relationship if they were not brought together? What would have happened to their relationship if they were not brought together? Anybody would like to give it a try?
I'll try it. The shopkeeper would
Sure.
probably have a false assumption of children. He may feel that all children only here to steal, and also that a lesson would not be learned to the child, and if he doesn't understand how his actions harm someone else, more than likely he would repeat the same process. And the family, if they're brought into the circle, they need to also have an opportunity to hear the side of the store owner, the shopkeeper, to see what his feelings and how the action affects his business.
Thank you, Kelvin. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, relationship will be harmed in the process. Okay, let's go for the next question, the last one before we move on to share what is it about. What will be likely outcome for Manfred in your schools instead? What will be the likely outcome for Manfred in your schools instead? Anybody? Yeah. In this scenario, if your students, which is happen to be Manfred, stole something, and what will be the outcome? Maybe I will ask, I will start arrow. Lynn, would you like to answer for us? What would be the likely outcome for Manfred if this is your student in your school?
Yeah, I also thinking about this when I work with the teacher and student, especially with the situations where we call student have the misbehavior, not only within the school but outside the school. What is the school responsibility? Like if the student like they go out of the school area, it should be the society responsibilities. So most of the case, our school consider it is not uh, the school responsibility when the student step out of the school gate. So I think in these situations, it would be helpful if the school maybe the teachers um, Manfred or the school administration, they they like look back on their rule, the school rule or the agreements on how they can engage in the situations and to like especially on prevent the school to prison pipeline for the Manfred in this case. That is a I believe that is a systemic issues. And for my personal work, I also um, still keep going, like find a way to how to say to like knock the door of the school administrator and say with them that this is a serious situation that they might face with the student. But if they don't have like preventions or any interventions with this case, they could become something more extreme in the future. So that is my thought.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you. Well, in Singapore context, if let's say this happened, most likely like what Lynn said, the school will not take responsibility, and chances are Manfred will be in part of a police case or involved in a criminal offense. Thank you. So with this, let's explore more about the incident and how we view the incident. So you see, when an incident occurs, do we see them as a behavior lens focusing on compliance and consequences? Or do we adopt a relational lens, considering that the relationship involved and how they can be repaired? So there's a saying, the more I get to know you, the less likely I am to harm you. For example, when students build a connection with their teachers, they are more likely to think twice before engaging in a harmful behavior. So what lens do you adopt in your school? And how do you think it shapes the outcome for the students and the school community? Okay, so let's delve deeper in this and discuss more about this lens and behavior and harm that is going to happen. So we're going to discuss there's blaming conversation. So what kind of conversation are we having with the students? Are we having blaming conversation, which you can see there, where punishment are given without explanation and actions are done to students, usually lead to negative feelings? This conversation focus on assigning blame and delivering consequences. Well, in contrast, which is I need the help of showing the restorative conversation. Okay, thank you. In contrast, restorative conversation are about working with students to understand the harm that has been caused and restore relationship in the process, further reducing the negative feelings. This approach build accountability and healing. So a good example is that instead of asking, what did you do it, or why did you do it? Why? Which is in a blaming conversation, we might want to ask, what happened and how do you think it affected others in a restorative manner? So this is an example for us to think about. You know, I have a student, imagine a student who frequently interrupt her classmate during lesson, causing frustration and disruption during lesson. So instead of punishing Sarah, her teacher held a restorative conversation with her and the affected classmate, which then they explore how her action make others feel and discuss ways to rebuild trust. This conversation was focused on relationship. Sarah not only understood the impact of her behavior, but also committed to positive change and building a more harmonious classroom environment. Yep. So this is a comparison between the blaming conversation and restorative conversation. I want to delve deeper in this approach. So let's go to the next slide. So as we are talking about harm in relationship, we're talking about adversarial versus restorative approach. So in a way, it's the way how we ask questions or the way we approach it. And we say we talk about adversarial approach or blame approach. The differences is that often it will lead to students focus on avoiding punishment without truly understand the consequence of the action. In contrast, the restorative approach encourages students to take responsibility and repair the relationship they have harmed. Which approach would you like your student to experience more? I have to say, in Singapore for many years, and even as a children growing up, I experienced more adversarial conversation than restorative conversation, because truly it's easier and quicker to get things done than restorative approach. Maybe we are thinking, why this way? Why might this be the case in a way? Well, adversary approach seen as a way to maintain control and quickly address behavior. But the truth is, it doesn't really help the students to understand their mistake and learn or make a change for long-term sake. On the contrary, though restorative practice may be time-consuming, but it created deeper connection and understandings. So I agree, adversarial conversation can have short-term effects. Means students may comply, but it's only temporarily. But they may not learn the deeper lesson about their behavior, and they could just avoid being caught in the future. And restorative conversation has a long-term effect. Students take ownership and more likely to change their behavior and understand the impact they had on others. So I would ask, if your students, which one would you prefer? Which adversarial approach or restorative approach? Anyway, this is for us to think and to reflect about. So with this, I'll go to the next slide. So with this, we're going to talk about example of adversary approach and restorative approach in different aspects of things. For example, we talk about offense. Adversarial approach, when the students vandalize school property, the focus is on rule, the broken rule. They have broken the rules, leading to punishments like suspension or detention. However, restorative approach focus on the shift to the relationship that's been harmed, where students, teachers, or even the peers coming together to discuss how the act has affected everyone and explore ways to repair the harm, perhaps through an apologies or fixing the property. Another one maybe we can talk about is the process, where it's about legal versus storytelling, where adversary approach or blaming conversation is about students damages peer belonging. The school might implement strict disciplinary action without hearing the full story, which is just illegal. Getting them into actions, strict disciplinary actions for the things they have done. However, it didn't give them the voice space to share what really goes, where restorative approach give them a voice space to share, allowing them to tell and explain their actions and to share their feelings to their peers, where the group will come together to collaborate and make amends, building empathy and understanding. Well, I have not much time, that's why I'm rushing through. So with this example just showing how restorative practice created long-term growth by creating and focusing on relationship and accountability. With this, I shall pass my time to James, who will continue us with next segment. Over to you, James.
Thank you, Sebastian, for helping to lay the groundwork tonight for talking about restorative practices and restorative justice. I think one thing that I'll add to this slide is that when we come from adversarial approach, it's all about focusing on the rules and the laws and the school system. And if you were to take that approach and emphasize that to the student, at the end of the day, what the student will learn is that, it's not about the relationships that I have harmed, but it's about the rules I've broken. So, if research has shown that if students don't process the impact of their actions and only think of their actions as breaking school rules, what is likely to happen is that they will just think that they just need to be smarter and don't be caught next time, by the system. Right? I see Kelvin nodding his head. I think he has handled many of such cases. So I think I'm not sure if it's a Singapore thing, but as a restorative practitioner, sometimes when we share about restorative practices into the school system in Singapore, some people will come up to us and say that, restorative practice seems like it's a lot about talking. You just talk and talk and talk and talk. It is a soft approach. You don't have the caning. I'm not too sure if other cultures you have the caning process in schools or not. You don't have the caning. You don't have the suspension. What is so difficult about restorative practice? And I think we always share with the educators here that we really want to help. First of all, comparing adversarial approach in terms of the consequences first for students. Sometimes I do believe that maybe especially for Kelvin, in terms of some of the really like hardcore students that he has handled, there are students who they will tell you upfront that they prefer the adversarial approach. Why? Because once you go through the system, he get punished, he just walk away from it. There's no need to talk to the victim. There's no need to talk to affected parties about how they emotionally feel about his actions. In contrast to that, when you sit in a restorative circle and you just have to silently listen one by one to each of the person you have harmed, how they've been affected, how it affected maybe even their daily activities. Actually, that's a very tough process that some of our youths who are gangsters or bullies tell us, I would rather avoid a circle because it is so emotionally difficult and vulnerable to be sitting in a restorative circle. So this is all about the kind of conversations we have, and that's why in LCCS we love this definition by Mark Van Vernon about restorative practices, which is that it's a way of thinking and being focused on creating safe spaces for real conversations that build deepen relationships and build stronger and more connected communities. So first of all, RP is not just a technique or a tool. That's something we always tell the educators here. It may start out from using the restorative questions, which I think some of you may be familiar with, but at the end of the day, you need to ask yourself as an educator, what do you believe about students and their relationships in the community, and also whether you see discipline as a process for them to learn and also make things right. So that is all about your way of thinking of being, which then affects your engagement, creating safe spaces, talking about conversations, and definitely leveraging the power of the community to help the students to make the change. In LCCS, we always advocate for circles in schools. Sometimes the funny thing is, in our training with teachers, they always ask us, how big should a circle be and everything. And isn't a big circle something that is so challenging to manage? But we always share with them that we are not afraid of that, of having a circle that's big. And the reason for that is because every circle member bring their unique perspective that sometimes untangle the trickiest of issues, and every committee member is able to bring a unique gift to the situation that sometimes will help you untangle those tricky situations as well. And that's our experience in facilitating circles from many years. So I think we also want to talk about certain tips or certain practices that teachers, or whether you as a youth worker, you can adopt in the daily classroom setting. Of course, the circle is one of the more structured or organized form of restorative practices, where you have to gather a variety of stakeholders to sit and engage and talk about the issue. But there are also practices that are more individual based, and it's looking more at your individual interactions with the student. And it's all about focusing on building relationships with them. You've gone for any RRP training course, or maybe say even a basic restorative practice course. Actually, what I'm showing on the screen here is not new. But I think I'm not sure about our exposure overall, so I will just give me a bit of time to just share about this. So firstly, affective statements. So that's something that we also share and teach our teachers here in Singapore, the power of an I statement. So the reason why it's effective is because the I statement is not just a I think you can be, or I am, kind of statement, but it's a I feel kind of statement, where as a teacher you can share about your feeling when a certain behavior happen in a classroom. And the third part of the effective statement is where you can state the behavior that you would like to expect from the student in the future. So as you can see for the examples given on the slide, you can use it to talk about negative effect. I feel upset when you spoke in a sarcastic way. I would like you to speak respectfully. And it can also be used to express positive encouragement. I feel encouraged when you spoke up and reminded the rest, stay focused. I'd like you to continue to be a role model for rest. And I think this is a really powerful tool for teachers. I've seen quite a number of times when, let's just say like the classroom is very disruptive, everyone's talking over one another, sometimes even talking to teachers. As a teacher, I don't know about teachers from other culture or whatever not, but most of the time when this happen, I always see teachers responding in a way that is like they'll probably raise their voice at the top, the volume. Then it becomes a volume contest with the students, like who can speak louder and who can get the attention. So we share with the teachers that maybe sometimes all you need to do is to take a pause, just wait for the student. And once you get their attention, straight away you use this effective statement. Class, I feel upset when there was a disruption going on just now, and then you share about how you're affected. This is powerful for teachers because, one, it humanizes yourself as an educator. Sometimes students view you, as an expert or, someone who doesn't have feelings. But when a teacher expresses the feeling, I always notice that without fail, students will pause to listen because they never expect that the teacher will share their feelings and be vulnerable. And secondly, as an educator, you are modeling for students how they themselves can express their feelings without using negative words or actions that affect others. Yeah, so I think this is a very simple and powerful tool actually in terms for educators to apply. Next is about effective interactions, which is talking about the restorative conversations that you can have with your students one-to-one for any situation. I think for some of us, this is not new. You will likely have seen this before. It's called the RP questions, and it's designed by Mr. Terry O'Connor, who is one of the pioneers in restorative justice, and he sits on our advisory board. So these questions are actually very simple and yet also powerful questions to help students to process an incident on the spot at a time. We have issue like pocket-sized RP question cards to teachers, and they have it in their pocket wherever there's an incident that happened. And if they really need questions to talk with students about how things was going on for them, they'll just take out this card from their pocket and they'll ask what happened, what you're thinking of at the time, and use it to facilitate. Yeah, so this is side one of the card, which are questions used to facilitate a conversation with someone who has caused harm. And there's side two also, to facilitate a conversation with someone who has experienced harm. There's a lot of things that I can unpack and talk about with regards to the restorative question part in that sense. But of course, I cannot do everything here in this workshop. There's a proper design thinking about the whole questions part. And that's where we see teachers take the creativity to engage students, crafting their own restorative questions to actually help the students to express their needs and also their expected outcomes when incident happen. Yeah, to me, one of the most powerful question in this question side number 2 is what has been the hardest thing for you? I find that this question often elicits people most heartfelt response, most vulnerable kind of moment to state that how they really have been affected by the incident that has happened. Yeah, so actually these questions are all available on IRRP website, so you can refer to there. I think they may even have certain writing about how it's being used. Yeah. So the last part that I will share to talk about our practice is circles. So I think you've heard from Sebastian about a circle that we used in Manfred's situation, where it was a circle responding to incident that happened. And of course, in LCCS, we use circle for any situation, any context. The sky's your limit in terms of the practice of circle. You just have to use your creativity to actually think about how to go about facilitating it. So on the left-hand side, you can see that this is an entire class circle. So sometimes teachers ask us, how is it possible to facilitate a circle for like 40 students? That's the class size in Singapore. I'm not sure if it's the same in Vietnam or in the States. But I think you can imagine a class size of 40, it could be intimidating. But yet we find value in getting the whole class to sit down like this and talk to one another, because we are trying to build a whole class culture. Sometimes if really like there's no time, like what Sebastian has did for his check-in, just using one word to share and represent about their feelings. We also sometimes just use a very simple, what we call a weather check-in, where, just using different weather conditions, you just state what weather you are feeling this morning. And you just have to go one round, and as a teacher, you can tell maybe which are the students you need to look out for during the day, especially those who share about that it's a stormy day, whatever not. Yeah. So on the right hand side, you can see a group. We did this circle in small groups as well, just sitting in with children, talking about their issues, and facilitating connections in the community. So I think some of you may have questions about, how do we embed a circle in maybe a classroom session? Like, I'm not too sure if it's the same elsewhere, but in Singapore, we have this, what we call CCE lessons, citizenship and civil education lessons as part of school in that sense. I believe every country has a variation of this. Some may call it form teachers period, or I'm not too sure. But this is a format that we have encouraged teachers to try out in that sense. So like you can see firstly on the top left-hand corner, this is a talking piece that we got the students to build themselves, during one of our sessions. So we just gave every student a single brick, and as they go up to place the brick in the middle of the circle, they will state one thing that they want to do to build a positive classroom community. And overall, as the students build the structure together, then we use that as a talking piece for the whole class. Yeah. So at the bottom of it, you can see a scale or map in that sense. So you can see that this is probably a collateral that we use to engage very young children, because when you're talking about young children, they like this kind of like progressing from stage to stage as an adventure map kind of thing. And that's where we set the classroom goals with them for the day, so based on what we have learned in terms of restorative values, maybe such as respecting one another, communicating with positively, we set maybe 2 or 3 of these classroom goals. And if they, as a whole class, manage to meet those classroom goals by their behavior in that session, we will let them progress to the next stage. So kids are very excited to actually go with us on such a stage and journey in that sense. Lastly, on the right hand side, you can see, okay, on the top left hand side, you see this class goal thing. So we are very meticulous. We'll make sure we really write down, like what they have done to really deserve moving to the next stage, to let the students know that they are concretely make progress. And the last part, which is for us in our practice, is positive observations. Sometimes when students are highlighted in their class, very often they are highlighted for their negative behavior or the time they have caused disruption to others. So, but however, that only serves to maybe amplify their behavior even more. Like, you give me attention on times when I disrupt the class. So sometimes I disrupt even more because I get that attention. So instead of that, we flip it around and give positive observations and encouragements. So we will spot things that we caught the students doing good in the session, and we'll say that out. And in between the circle and the next circle, we'll actually write some of these positive cards that you can see at the bottom of the screen. This called "You're Doing Good" card. You just write for them, and we'll affirm them so that we can reinforce this positive behaviors in the class. Yeah, so this is just an example of how we embed circle time practice in a curricular setting in Singapore schools. Now, this is a very interesting form of circle called a council. And it is very interesting because this idea, this practice actually came from Snapchat, the messaging app that maybe some of your youth are using. Maybe some of you are hoping that your youth don't use it, because I heard that some not so good activities goes on Snapchat in that sense. So what I learned was that the founder, actually, when he was in his university days, I think he attended certain facilitation of circles and this council practice. So he really loved it, and he has since then make it as part of HR practice in Snapchat. So as a staff, they check in with one another, they sit in circles, they sit in councils to talk about things. So the unique thing about council as a practice that I find is that it centers, it's not complicated, it's very simple, and it centers around storytelling. So a typical start of this council circle would be something like a prompt about a theme that maybe you would like the committee to explore that day. So say, for example, let's go one round. Let's tell a story of a time when you experience vulnerability in your relationship with others, and they just go run round sharing their stories. And after that, we just go another round, just what we call a witnessing round, where we ask the participants, what is one thing that you heard during the circle session. So this helps the participants to actually learn that actually their stories were being listened to, and also for the rest of participants to know that in a council circle we are expected to be actively listening to one another. So I love this because it's simple. I don't need to craft complicated questions for the circles, and honestly, the children and youth love the stories, and they can connect and build stronger bonds with one another after such a session. You can imagine, like if it's a youth camp and everyone sit around a barbecue, marshmallows, and they are just going around sitting in council and sharing about their stories. I think that is a wonderful bonding activity. Family circles. So we do facilitate circles for families as well. I think just now one of you, I think Tao was asking about working with parents, and it's part of our programs to also work with parents as well, because they are important stakeholder. So this is a picture of a circle being facilitated in McDonald's in Singapore, just to get the point that circles can be facilitated anywhere. Of course, it's best if there's a more conducive environment, but it was just that at that point in time, that was the only environment for this family, because the home environment wasn't the most safe of places to hold the conversation. So we set the whole family down to share their perspective, to share positive values that the family show, and have engagements and interactions about each other in the family circle. Yeah. Well, this last slide about circles is basically just showing a staff circle that we have in LCCS. This is all of our staff coming together in a monthly check-in. And the reason why I show this circle practice, I'm showing this picture, because I truly believe that to be a good and experienced circle time facilitator, you will also need to experience a circle process yourself regularly, being part of the circle, being part of a community that's connected to one another. So that's where we always tell teachers, that as much as you're learning circle time from us, it's also important that as a teacher community, you are also sitting in circles with each other, experiencing what it's like to be vulnerable in a circle and to check in with one another. So there was this teacher that shared with us that, when she was facilitating circle time with her students, she didn't understood why her students were struggling to speak up in the circle. It's like, to her, the question is so simple. You can just strictly think on the spot. But when she sat in the circle herself and had to answer a question, then she got it. It's not that easy, because a true circle time requires me to be vulnerable and to open up, and I need to think. So that's why I think it's really important as a practitioner to be part of we want to bring RP to the systems, that's right, but we also would like to aim for a whole system change, a whole school approach, where even the teachers can also feel the restorative elements in a school setting. Yeah. So I've reached the end of my sharing. I think I took way longer than I am supposed to or am expected to. So I think the plan was to actually break out to share about one of these three A's in that sense. So what's one thing you appreciate about sharing? What's one curiosity you hope to still have an answer on? And what is one thing you would like to apply? Sorry, Lynn, I'm thinking whether in the interest of time, should we still do the breakout room or should we just get every participant to just type out on the chat? I'm not too sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think because our time, so maybe we should, and we are a small group today, so maybe we can open the main room for everyone to open the mic and share in our group. Maybe just one out of three questions. If anyone feel comfortable to chat in the chat box, this could be okay. Yeah, how do you think?
Yeah, that sounds good. As you're talking about maybe going from person to person to share verbally on this, or
I should be person to person.
okay, sure. Since it's a small group, I think we can afford to let everyone have the talking piece, I guess. Yeah. So you can choose one of the following to share. One thing you appreciate, one curiosity you hope to have answer on, one thing you'd like to apply. Okay, so maybe I'll randomly call on someone. Maybe let's call on. Sorry, just searching through. Tao. I think there are two Tao. I don't know how to put it. Maybe the one wearing spectacles.
There's two Tao. Which one?
Yes, correct. So the one wearing spectacles.
Yes.
Thank James. Kind of have a quick review of what we have been through today, because there's a lot of experience working with the school that you and Sebastian had shared with us. One things that I'm curious about is like you mentioned about the different question for the person who caused harm and the person who's was harmed. So I'm curious about the order of the questions. Like you ask one party and you ask one question and let everyone share about this, or you have different question for different people in the circle. Yeah, that's my sharing.
Thank you.
Okay.
You can pass to the next person. Yeah.
I would love to hear from Diệu Anh.
All right. So I actually have heard when we shared about the teaching methods when we communicate with the students and when we have to heard from different stakeholders. We acknowledge their opinions, and also that will raise our sympathy for our students, raise our understandings for them, and which create a safer environment for the students to thrive. And actually, I was very impressive with the part when you guys have like two tables to compare the two different learning teaching methods. And I was very surprised when I realized that our current education in Vietnam was somehow focused just mainly on the left side part, which means that we only kind of focus on punishing students and while not listening to their opinions. It's not like I'm bad mouthing the education in Vietnam or something, but in my as far as I know, that I think that many schools in Vietnam didn't really pay attention and spend time to listen to different perspectives from different students, and they just like told us that you guys have to do this, like you guys have to do that. It's kind of like yeah, we don't have much time to communicate to each other, which means that our distance are like very far from each other. And as a future teacher in the future, I very appreciate the learning method of the like circular learning method, and I think that it's very useful when it comes to like listening to many people's opinions and understanding them and accept them, and to find out like the very end circumstances and find like a suitable solutions that will satisfy everyone. And that's my opinion. Okay, so can I pass the turn for someone else in the room, right? Okay, so can I invite let's see, Deborah from United States?
Yeah, perfect. I was going to say I have to leave. I have another appointment. So this is perfect. I always appreciate the way information is presented as a trainer myself. You know, I have heard a lot of this information before and utilize it in my trainings, and I just really appreciated the way that it was structured. I think introducing the video and then the guiding questions were super helpful for thinking on our own instead of being told what to think by the presenter. So thank you to both of you for your time and effort and energy of putting this together in this way. One takeaway that I have is that I'm going to apply, or that I really would like to apply, is the structure of that circle. And you know, starting with the recap from where you know what you talked about last time. I think that's so important, and we don't do that enough. And of course, setting of classroom goals, and then you know the activity of the day and the debrief are common things that we do in circle to hold the circle together. I really appreciated and liked the positive observations being noted, and I think that the class goals and the scaling component are really important, because it affirms that students have the capacity to sit and connect and listen and be respectful. And so I think naming those things are very important for students as well as the rest of the class. So thank you again. I will call on, is two still here? Yeah, two. Do Thao?
Okay, thank you, Deborah. One thing that I appreciate about this sharing is about the case of Manfred. It actually very inspiring. I do see the impact that you guys are doing, like the real example when you put it in the school. And one thing that I felt very interesting is the family circle. Actually, before that, we usually do the circle with the students and the teachers, and I haven't like heard or hearing about the family circle. So that's, I think, is the highlight point of the sharing. So one curiosity that I hope to have an answer, that you guys sharings about the adversarial approach and restorative approach. So I'm wondering that, is this always good to use a restorative approach, and is it always bad to use adversarial approach, or it will be the plan between two of that approach? Yeah, that's what the curiosity. I want to have an answer or any kind of a real case in life, if you guys can share on. And one thing that I want to apply is the talking piece that was built by everyone in the circle. I think it's a share the connection between everyone in the circle. And I think it's the interesting way to building a connect, and that I want to apply in the future circle. And I will pass the mic to Kelvin. Kelvin? You
Okay,
still there?
yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. I guess one thing I appreciate, like I think Deborah said, I appreciate the order. Appreciate the opportunity to have to participate in the presentation versus it just being told to us. One quick question or curiosity I have is to the presenters is how long of the schools in Singapore, how many are actually using restorative practices and the circles on a daily basis or I guess weekly? Because a lot of pushback that I receive, and it was good to hear that some of the similar thoughts about teachers and behavior is very similar in the United States as it is in Singapore. But my question is, how long did it take to get the schools to buy in to the restorative practice concept? And what percentage of the schools are actually using it throughout the entire building?
Okay, we'll take the questions later. But Kevin can
Okay,
pass it
okay.
to another person for the checkout first. Yeah.
No problem.
Mm. Um, I think Kelvin is driving halfway, so he was in the car, so I think it's a bit dangerous for him to look at the screen. So maybe on his behalf, I will call the next person. Maybe Van, if you are there, would like to share your response to this. Is Van there?
I think if Chivan is not ready now, I think we can take the turn. Pass the turn to Anh Thiên Ân because I saw his camera is open.
Okay.
Okay.
You hear right? You hear me right?
Yes.
Okay. I also love the family circle, and I even think about the like multi-family circles. Like each student has a family, right? And yeah, all of the families of all of those students get together, stuff like that. And also a staff family, maybe. Yeah, all of the family of the staff, our friends, stuff like that. What I am curious about is you also mentioned about there are some people like they don't want to listen to the one that they has harmed. So what's the solution? Like how to make them get used to it if they find it so difficult to listen to other stakeholders? Yeah. Yes, that I think all has answer, right?
We still have Chị. You are still here for the check. Okay, I think I will take this turn, and if Chị Vân still available to check out with us, I think you can still write in our chat box. So yeah, I think I will take this turn to sharing before I pass this to James and Sebastian. So one of the things during your sharing that I think of is also actually how to like promote influence the school to buy in this idea, because most of the time when I'm working with the principal and teacher, they really enjoys the time when they sitting in the circle or sharing with through the restorative way. But there are two issues that I normally heard is about it take a lot of time and they don't have time to do this. It's And the second thing is the school facilities, like a space or the classroom, that don't have enough space for them to reconstruct the classroom. Like they just have the small classroom, and if they want to open the circle, or if they want to like gather the student or even the staff together in the form of the circle, is they need like to open another room, like a library room, or they have to go out of the classroom, maybe to the schoolyard. So that is the two challenges, common challenge of the public school in Vietnam that I heard, and it's still challenge for us to find a way to actually apply this practice, restorative practice in the classroom. And the second thing is appear in my mind that during the last 2 years, we are working, we have been work with teachers mostly, and it's make me think of we haven't organized a circle for students as usual as before. And this also like I think that would be a gap for me, for the person who design the training program for the teachers without working closely, like work closely, and more often with the student to hear what they say, to understand them. Yeah, so that is two of my thinking during our sessions. That would be really meaningful for me today. So pass the mic to James.
Yeah, okay, sure. So I think thanks everyone for sharing your perspective and your thoughts. I think it's really helpful for us because it's our first time meeting this community, and I really was so curious about what would be your takeaways in that sense. I hear that there are quite a number of questions that we will be, of course, would like to answer in that way, but I'm also respectful of everyone's time because it's 10:11 in that sense. So I was thinking maybe I'm not too sure if any of if you are keen to stay on and converse and talk, we will be glad to do so, because it's not always that we have an opportunity to connect with restorative practitioners all over the world. But if you are needing to go off, can I just end my presentation with this slide, which is that we are going to publish a book soon, and this book is detailing about our experience advocating for a whole school approach in Singapore school systems. Yeah, so Routledge International, which is international publishing firm that publishes a lot of the university textbook, they pick up on a speech that was given by our Minister of Education talking about a program that we run on a whole school approach for restorative practices, highlighting the impact of that program. So then they approach us as practitioners to write a book about it and detail our experience. So it's not out yet because right now it's still they're still proofreading it. But once it's out, I hope everyone can, take a look at it and see whether that relates to your context as well. Yeah. But yeah, if not, these are our information on our LCCS. So if you'd like to connect in any way, you can look at all these social media platforms, or if not, you can actually drop me an email, which I can provide here. Yeah, this is my email address. Like if you're interested to connect or talk about other things, feel free to. Yeah. Okay. So with that, I presume if the rest are staying on, you're staying on with regards to the questions and answer part, which is this slide, question answer. Yeah. I think I will stop sharing screen just to let everyone see one another here. Okay.
I think like James invitations, because we run out of time, but if anyone still keen on to join with us like in the few minutes for the Q&A sessions, because I also heard listen some questions during our sessions today. If you want have the energies and have the time to stay up with us in the morning or the evening now, you can stay in and we can discuss like maybe one or two questions, and with the other questions we can like we also like we will wrap up with the questions and we'll send back to James and Sebastian, and we'll share their thinking and their answers, and we'll send back to everyone after our workshops.
Yeah,
But
sure.
if any questions that James or Sebastian heard during our session and really want to answer right now.
Sure. Maybe I'll prioritize questions from those who are still here. So that's your privilege because you are staying on and really want to honor your time here. I think we will start off with talking about, I think, Calvin's question, which is for Singapore schools, how many are using restorative practice on a daily basis or weekly basis? What percentage of schools is that, and how long do it take to advocate to the system? So I will be honest and upfront to say that I don't have the data on that because this is data with the Ministry of Education, and I'm not too sure if it's the same everywhere, but our ministries of education don't always release such data to us. But what I can share from my experience in talking to different schools in the systems is that almost every school I know or I have talked to, they have heard about restorative practice for sure. It's one of the 5 recommended ministry approaches for building teacher-student relationships. And the idea of and concept of a circle time, I think is quite well known throughout the schools in Singapore. I think the question is mainly on to what degree is the practice embedded as part of their practice. So we see a spectrum of that in the various schools. So on one side of the spectrum, of course, you have schools that they only heard about it, but they are not interested in it, and they don't practice any part of it. But in between, we have other schools, like for example, there are schools that take on one part of it, which is the restorative questions part that you saw. They see it primarily as a discipline tool. They use the questions to talk to students when things go wrong, and that's where they stop. There are also schools that look into using circle time, mainly to facilitate conversations about proactive building of relationships, but that's where they stop. They feel they don't dare to go into a circle that looks into talking about incidents, because they feel that circle practice could, for such situations, could be challenging. Yeah. So I would say that RP in Singapore has been introduced for quite some time already, in a sense, maybe 20 years or so, in a sense. But I as a practitioner, we are continually advocating to the systems along the way. We find that there's always that need to keep on renewing and reminding our Ministry of Education about this approach. I think in school system is very dynamic as well, because in our school systems, the principal change every 5 to 10 years. That's part of the policy. Yeah. So with sometimes with leadership changes, they have different ideas about bringing about different engagement practice as well. Yeah. But if you ask me, I think I'm not too sure if there's a question on what is the most effective way to influence school to buy in. I have no doubt that the most effective method is always to put a restorative practitioner on the ground in the school to model restorative intervention for the school. We have found that that has always been the most effective, because no matter how much we train as a concept to the school, sometimes I think one is that teachers will not always pick out the opportunity for a restorative conversation to happen. Sometimes they only think that you're only practicing RP when you do the circle part, but actually there's so much more to it. There's still that individual one-to-one conversation, of which Sebastian, actually he is one of our staff that's based in the school to actually talk with the discipline master about, how he can adopt restorative practices to engage the students. Yeah, so I think that's probably one of the best model in terms of influencing the school system. And I think there is a question about taking educators saying that it takes a lot of time. It's not new. It's not definitely not only in Vietnam. Singapore teachers tell us all the time the same thing. Sebastian's laughing because he heard it thousands of times. And I think our response to this is always that I do acknowledge as a restorative practitioner that it is true that it will take more time than the adversarial approach for sure, because I think, like my colleague Sebastian has said, some educators like that approach because it's a quick fix. But I think in school system, I find that there's starting to have a shift in that thinking, because for example, as we talk a lot more about mental wellness, trauma-informed practices, the educators they do know that the old method, so-called of in terms of school of hard knocks, right? Sometimes it doesn't go well with the current generation. So there's a lot more openness in there. But at the same time, we always share with them that in RP, you spend time now to save time later. Yeah. So you invest in your relational capacity with a student now, you build up your relational bank with them. And as you, as a student, understand that as an educator, you're always coming from a heart of care and support, even when you have to address them in tough conversations. That's where you know that you have reached a stage with the student that, even if you need to discipline the student, so to speak, the student is able to listen to you and respect where you're coming from, because the student knows that you care for him. Yeah. So that's what we often tell the teachers, that you need to spend time now. if you don't have an effective relationship with your student, spend 10 years to establish it, so that 6 months later, when you have to use it over some serious incident, it's time, then you'll find that you save a lot more time as compared to you keep on using rules and consequences to make the student to conform. And one thing that I always like to share with educators as well is that if you use rules and consequences to get them to conform, whose responsibility is it at the end of the day to make sure that the student change his behavior? Yeah, whose responsibility? And if you keep on emphasizing on rules, it seems like it's your responsibility because you have to keep doing that, enforcing the rules. Yeah, whereas in the restorative approach, what we're looking at, I love how one principal said it, that we don't want to just discipline the mind as in like you're just teaching them about behavior and consequence, but when we look at discipline, we're looking at disciplining the heart, helping the students to understand what it's like to build values that they can later on in life make their decisions by. Yeah, so I thought that was really something powerful that a principal shared with me about this. I think there was a question about school facilities you can't do circles in a classroom, but I think there's also a group size or something like that. For some schools, we share with them that, because I'm not too sure if it's the same thing in other countries, but in Singapore, there's always 2 form teachers assigned to the same classroom. So sometimes we share then that if you find a large group setting too intimidating, you can split the group into half. Each teacher take 10 or to 20 students. You can facilitate in a smaller setting in that sense. Actually, in Singapore, when we do circle time, we train our kids to move the furnitures, all the tables and chairs to the sides of our classroom in as fast as possible to create space in the middle for a circle. It's part of our training for the kids, how fast they can do it so that we can form that circle then. So I don't know if that's one consideration to make, but at the same time, we have held circles in the school field before. We've held circles in the corridors before, large open setting, so long as so long as people are able to settle down somewhere and see one another, I think circles are fine. It should be conducive to conduct. Let me go to this part about the different questions, the RP questions in that sense. How I think Tao was asking a question about the different order that we ask for the student who offends versus students who cause harm versus students who receive the harm in that sense. How do we ask and facilitate in that way? So a simple I usually we share this in our training, but I think a simple way to look at the RP questions is this, which some questions talking about the past. Some questions are looking at talking about the present. One question is looking at talking about future. So what do I mean? So when we talk about what happened, what we're thinking at the point in time, we're getting the student to reflect on the past. So if you find that the student, as he narrates his story and experience, he's already talking about all these aspects, then you don't need to ask every single question there in a sense. Then there's a question about present, which is who has been affected by what you've done in what way. So helping the students to think about the impact that he has made. Then there's a question about the future as well, which is what do you think you need to do to make things right? So thinking about taking ownership, accountability to move forward as a committee in the future. So this can be one simple framework to think about it in that way for you to go around asking that question in a sense. I hope I'm answering your question in the right way. I'm not too sure. Yeah. Or did I understand your question the wrong way? I don't know. Yeah.
I think it could be easier to find out when you two connect with each other after the workshop.
Sure.
because that is actually, this is also how we want to organize the workshop series where we can meet the educators, the practitioners. It's like the space when we can talking and like exchange the idea and share the similar systemic issues in our country that maybe before that, I or we thought that we are the only one classroom or school, or it just happened in our country. But when we have the hub like this, we understand that some of the issues that we share, like regionally or globally, in every school in our planet, right? So I think it's a little bit late now for our guest speaker and also for our participants, but I really appreciate that in the time like this, you still spend the Friday morning or the Friday evening, really late at night, to joining with us and share your insight and like engage in our discussions today. And after this workshop, we also we still have the email, like a thank you note and feedback to send to our participants who join in the workshop today. And we really hoping to receive your feedback and your sharings and also your questions on our topics today. And this is our fourth workshop in the workshop series, but this is the first workshop in the new year 2025. And I haven't talking about this at our beginning of the workshop, but this is really nice time to meet to meeting each others. And I want to say Happy New Year for everyone. And sure, we will update the workshop recording to our YouTube, the Classroom Circle, when we finish in the workshop series. So our first workshop series will have 5 workshops, and the next time, the next workshop will be the last one. We'll organize in March. We will take a break in February, and we will begin back on March with our guest speaker is Dr. Maisha Tewin. If anyone interesting in the research perspective, she is also one of the how to say distinct researchers and also a distinct lecturer of the Stanford University. And we will release the new really soon. Maybe after we celebrate our Lunar New Year, right? And our last words is to say thank you so much, everyone. I really feel the cozy and friendly of the circle in our workshop today. And thank you, our guest speaker, James and Sebastian, to spend time and willing to stay really late to sharing with everyone. And I hope that we still can connect after our workshop with our participants, with our teachers, educators, to continue to think about our questions, to think about our how we can influence our school to more restoratively inclusive. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. And have a good night or have a good morning. And yeah, have a nice day. Yeah, let's keep connect.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Happy New Year to those in Vietnam and good morning to those in the States. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night. Okay.
Thank you so much for yeah, willing to stay really late and answer a lot of the questions of our session today. Yeah, I think if we still open the room, there'll still be follow-up questions.
Yeah. Actually, I
Yes.
thought to share with you, since you were the one who asked about the sizes and classroom may not able to have circle, right? Another method would be the fishbowl method.
Oh, fish.
Yeah, basically have a smaller circle while the rest listen, and then once you set a timing, once they share finish, you rotate. At least you still got.
Oh, yeah, that is a really great idea. Normally, we like James sharing, we move the furnitures like the table and the chairs to two side and then have a space in the middle of the classroom, and then the teachers will facilitate the circle. Maybe it's just a check out, check in at the beginning of the week or at the end of the week, but it's really helpful. Yeah, and another way that we're doing is to break the class into the smaller group and just organize, like just facilitate a circle one time with the smaller group, and then when it finish, then we move to the
Sure.
like the smaller one, but that would be one group per sessions. So yeah, like you can imagine, like there will be a group will not have a check-in
Yes,
the
yes.
beginning of the week because we
Yes.
break it at least two groups.
Yes, I hear you. But of course, they're just sharing because I thought to share my story was that I had a case where the class was having a lot of issues, and then there were a lot of conflicts in the class. Means there's a lot of fighting. So to have the class to talk, it's like 30 to 40 students is very challenging. So we did a fishbowl where the affected party and those who were fighting, right, could share while they take turn to hear from other classmates how they are affected too. So a method we did that, which I just said, is a fishbowl method they can consider. If let's say whole class are affected by certain issues that's arising, because I hear from you most of the time you are doing proactive circle, but if let's say you face situation where it's about responding circle or repairing circle, you can take this as consideration.
Yeah, that's a really great idea. I think I note it and will like write it down in our recap of the workshop today and post it on our Facebook. Yeah. Okay. So now it's really late. So I think we will have a quick debrief. How do you feel in the overall of the workshop today? Like I have to say, I think my first word I have to say, I'm sorry that our group today is not many people as usual. So I hope this is not like I understand that may be impact of our discussions today. So how do you feel about our workshop in overall?
To me, it's okay. We have this saying among ourselves as a practitioner: the ones who come to the circle are always the right people. So I mean, we can invite many people to participate in the circle, but a few turn up in a sense. But the people who come are always the right people. So they are the ones who are keen, interested, and they'll push forth the practice in their various settings. So I'm fine with that. And of course, I think this is a recording, meaning to say that more people will probably view it later on. And I understand that this is a new year for Vietnam. So I think it's a festive season, and people might have their. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. No, I just want to say this is a happy new year for everyone, like in the January 1st. Not the new year for us. We will celebrate our Lunar New Year, but like in the next 10 days. So this is actually still the working day in Vietnam. And people still have to work one more week
I
before
see.
yeah, before we can completely like relax with the holiday. So that's why I still suggest this time of the day. But I think your insight is still how to say it is still correct. Like because maybe there's still a lot of people registered for our workshop, but might be this time of the day will be maybe they want to relax and then saving time for maybe to go out and prepare for the holiday. But that because I think it would be more risky if we organize in February. So that's why I don't organize any event in February because normally after the holiday in Vietnam, people will like still have a relaxing mood and don't want to join the event. Yeah.
Understand. The Chinese New Year came quite early this year in January, so as compared to others year when it's February. So I think maybe that could be a different feeling right now. But at the same time, I would say that I enjoyed the conversations with all who are present. Also, I think you can really feel the difference and how we all resonate one another as a restorative practitioner through this time. And it's my pleasure. I will love to connect with them and and talk with them or engage with them in other settings as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I also have to say that I personally enjoy the smaller group rather than the group have a lot of people. It could be a different vibe, but this would be, I think this was we already have more time to connect with each other. That is really important because I believe that our participants who join in the session today will like have more sense to join in the next sessions and will have more intentions to connect with each other and with the guest speaker. Actually, there's three person who already like really how to say they join every workshops till now. Debra from the US, she is the one who joined all the workshops to this one, and um, and so, and the and the girls who is still a university student and will become teachers in the future who also join our sessions. And we cannot count the teachers who also our college. Yeah, so I think that is to be give people more insight on how restorative practice apply in the Singapore school and compare with their schooling system. There will be, I think that would be one of the most insightful thing that we have in this conversation today.
Great, great. I was connecting to Deborah privately also, and I think she is connected to the IRP. So I think she herself is a RP trainer, and I think she and Kelvin are quite veteran as an educator from what I see. They have lots of experience about engaging students or even doing RP training. So I'm just heartened that there was something that they could take away from this. It's great connecting with them.
I apologize. I need to make a move. I got another meeting. Yeah.
Oh, at this time?
No. So they're calling me for another meeting. So I need to make a move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I'm quite
it's
sure
I
it's not a work
apologize. I'm
meeting.
sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, yeah, I think we will, yeah, we can conclude that. Yeah, no worry. Thank you, Sebastian.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
and hope to see you again. No,
See you. James, you can
yeah,
continue conversation. I apologize, Arlene. I'm so sorry. And sorry, James. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So, yeah, just want to follow up with your sharing. Actually, I think with with my experience um with the teachers and the friends from the US, even they have experience on um, facilitate the circle or applying restorative practice in their own classroom. I feel that they still keen on to learn from
Mm,
other countries' perspective, and
mm,
there will be like I feel that the the intentions, connections is more important for them
mm,
than like have to learning something specific.
mm,
Yeah. So and I still believe that in our workshop today with your sharing, they still can have the takeaway with their own experience. So it's still I have to say that in my perspective, every sessions that I participate in always have a new thing. Yeah, even this just a small sentence or this um, connections with someone is still benefit and is still
mm.
joyful when
Yeah.
I join in every section. And yeah, I really like the sentence when you say that it spend time now to save time later. That would
Mm,
be yeah, I just think in a funny way that should be our motto in applying restorative practice in the school. Yeah, when we heard a lot of teachers said that they don't have time to do it.
yes. Yes.
But it's really great to have I think it's really great to have a group like this. Is we I think we call that early adopter when
Mm,
they really keen on learning and uh, yeah they want to they put the intentions and want to actually learn something to bring back and apply
mm,
it to the classroom is really important for the
mm.
group of this. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, just one last questions that do you have any feedback for my role or our organizing today? Yeah, I understand that the first thing is could be the timing, maybe the timing and the date of the workshop. Maybe should I we um and I personally should like that's what our lesson learned. So any other things that you think that we can improve on the next time?
I would say don't be so hard on yourself in that sense because I honestly think there could be many different reasons why people registered and they didn't turn up in the end in that sense. So I think every piece of sharing or trading that we do is always one step forward in advocating a restorative movement. So I honestly think there's no need to be so hard for yourself on yourself in the sense of like, did I select the right date, setting, context, whatever not. I think that's sometimes when we do our conferences or sharing or trainings on online, that's a common encounter, like people register but they don't turn up. Yeah. I think your reminder for me to stop sharing screen while we do check in so that we can see everybody. I think that was a great suggestion. I think this is it's so important to have a connection, like in a circle time when when we are doing it on Zoom to be able to see face to face in that sense. Yeah. So and yeah, you hosted it well. I think you directed people gently, prompted people to respond. mindful of your community needs. So yeah, I can only give this kind of feedback, I guess. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. And yeah, I really appreciate that you're doing the check-in thing because this is our first time have the full check-in circle. And
Oh,
yeah, before that, normally we just have a short check-in in the chat box. So yeah, I think you can feel the energies of the group
yes.
is
Yes.
really different. Depend on the way we do the check-in and catch up with everyone at the early of our sessions. And I think that's a really good thing because we are in the smaller group, and that will be a chance for everyone to speak their voice and sharing their intentions, the reason they are here. And yeah, in some way, it's make people more connect with each other. Yeah, not just only with me or with you, but with yeah, um, with everyone in the group, and that would be really really nice check-in round. And I also really appreciate that you spend a lot of time to answer uh, people questions and still patient to the end. And like you said, I think that because we in the right, we with the right person who want to join in a session today, and because of that, we share the same spirit, the
Yes.
restorative spirit. When we talk with each other's, when we listening the questions, and yeah, so that is at my end. That's really this one is really a insightful and really a great experience of our workshop. Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I must thank Yifeng for making this connection happen and,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
just making things happen in that sense. He's in the UK now. I'm not too sure you know, but yeah, I will thank him for getting us connected. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say that it's really challenged to talking about this topic in Vietnam because it's still something really new. And this is why I really want to organize the workshop to like invite the guest speaker like you have really have a long time working in this topic. And we like in the country in the same regions, and this is powerful to show that this is the movement not only globally but in our regionally. So
Yes.
yeah, I yeah I should give the credit for Yifeng to make these connections.
Yeah.
Yeah, really nice to meet the insightful and um insightful person like Yifeng.
Yes.
Yeah. So you guys working with each others, or um, you two know each other's, like you working with each others, or have you met each other before,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
just know each other? Oh,
I know him for quite a long time already, actually. We first got to meet in a church setting. Then after that, I met him while I was studying social work in university. So he was in the same course as me. We did a project together. Then I know he went to work for Singapore government, the National Council of Social Services. So we do interact there sometimes as well. Yeah. So that's how I know Yifeng. Yeah.
yeah, that's really great. Oh, and last was that I'm so sorry at my opening I pronounce is wrongly the name of the organizations. Yeah.
It's okay. No worries about that. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, we people have said different things about LCCS. I think it's just the whole thing is very long, so it could be a bit hard to pronounce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Thank you for joining with me today and stay up really late. Yeah.
No problem. We'll love to fly to Vietnam one day to, meet a
Oh,
few
yeah.
schools, do sharings. Yeah.
Oh, that's really great. Please come in and yeah, I will show you around. And I actually had the opportunity to visit Singapore in 2023. That is the first time I met. I think you know Restorative Practice Singapore.
Mm,
Yeah, Gomathi is a director of that organizations, and I just know her before the trip. And
mm,
luckily, I made the appointment with her, and I
mm,
already visit her in 2023. So
mm.
it's really insightful conversation. Yeah,
No
it's love
problem.
to connect with you. Yeah.
If you happen to be flying down to Singapore this year in October, we are going to organize a restorative practice conference.
Mm.
Yeah, so we will, of course, it's pitched at a local setting, but we usually invite practitioners from all around the world to actually be part of this. Yeah.
Oh, so when you release the information, please send to me and I can release the information about the conference to our community in Vietnam. If is that that conference is a 1 day conference or maybe a few day conference where participants or we can apply for the presentations in the conference or something similar to that.
I don't have all the details yet because it's
Mhm.
another of my colleague who's organizing it. From what
Oh,
I know now, it should be a 2 day conference from what I latest hear about. Yeah.
yeah,
But
no worries.
once,
This is yeah, when it's released, you just need to send it to me. Or
sure,
yeah, I will keep it in mind to ask you.
no
Yeah.
problem. We'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really great chance. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you and have a good night.
You too. Have a good weekends. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. You too.
Okay. Okay. Bye.
Bye.